Welcome in, everybody. Thanks for coming into the show. Man, I'm so glad that to have all you guys here with us, man. I got my guys here co-hosting with me, man. I am excited, and I've been waiting 5 or 6 months for this. Forget all that shorts and judging guys, in shorts and running around the field, not being able to tackle and do any of that stuff. Forget all that. Pads are popping today. And that's what we came to talk about. First day of pads, man. I'm hearing nothing but good stuff. And you know what? For the first time since I can remember watching these podcasts and just paying attention to all this whole universe of podcasts, this is the first year that I can remember where reporters aren't running to their podcasts and saying doom and gloom stories about how bad things are looking. But you do have every now and again, you have one guy or two guys that might sit there and practice all day and can't find anything else to say bad about the team or anything negative, and he'll find something to say something about. We all know who that guy is. He's a big winnie, but we don't care anything about that crap. So we're here to talk positive, man, because there's a lot of good news coming out of camp, man. I mean, a lot. I'm seeing a lot of good reports. The guys, the usual guys, Braggs, Alex Shapiro, Lester Wolfong Jr. I even got some from I even saw a good one from Greg Gabriel. But the thing about it is it's all positive. You have a few plays that are negative here and there, but overall it sounds really, really positive. And this just makes everybody excited for the season, man. And I'm gonna bring you guys here right now, man. Hey Matt, I don't know what you've heard so far, but what is the tone and tenor of everything you've heard?
Well, good stuff so far. I hear Justin's doing well. I heard there was a couple of picks, unfortunately, at his disposal. Same token, that speaks well about the secondary that we've been talking about for a little while. That means that these guys are starting to come up. I heard the other Terrell, I believe Smith, the cornerback. I hear he's doing well. He got some looks with the ones. He's doing all right. I'm kind of enjoying the fact that he's getting some shine and getting the ability to test things out, test the waters, see how things are going. Now, the picks that Justin had in that practice, to my understanding, they pulled all the ones off when those picks occurred. So again, probably a little bit less to do with the probably a little bit more to do with the caliber on the field versus the number one defensive team. So I'm hearing good stuff. This is really exactly what I want to hear. I want to hear that secondary is giving him headaches, and I also want to hear that he's giving them headaches. I need to hear a little bit more about Javon Dexter, etc. Flu spoke about him a bit today. We'll see what he really looks like now the pads are on, and we'll get a chance to get an idea as to what that get off might actually look like. But yeah, I'm hearing good things across the board. What about the rest of you boys?
First of all, I'd like to start out by giving some love to Aldo, the Podfather. Who's got a little health thing going on today. So, much prayers and love and respect going out to him. As far as camp goes, kids covered most of it there, but I will add that I did hear that Dexter had very good get off, and his slap, was very, very loud. When he reaches out and touch someone, now that they can do that. I was not happy to hear about the players that did not participate or had to leave due to injury. We don't know the severity of those, and we're not going to unless they're long-term. But Walker, who's been working out all summer like a beast and putting up the videos, goes down. Damn it. Sandborg coming back from the injury goes down. Damn it. Nate Davis, maybe he's out for a Veterans Day, but whatever. I like to see everybody healthy and participate, but we're going to keep it moving, and it is what it is. Samo?
Yes, sir, man. It was again, shout out to the Podfather, man. Prayers up to him, everyone. I think we all met through the Podfather. Everyone in the chat knows him. Just keep him in your prayers. As far as camp goes, man, good things on both sides of the ball, man. We got the offense, Justin Fields clicking. All the talk about Chase Claypool, man, should be put to bed because he's showing out in camp the past 2 days, man, catching touchdowns in the red zone, and just all over the field. We got the defensive line. All the talk about the defensive line not getting pressure, man. Where the pass rush is going to come from. We heard a lot of good things about everyone on the defensive line. That's interior and exterior. Robinson, Gibson, who else? Dexter, and Pickens, man, and even Andrew Billings in the running game, man. All those guys are doing well, man. The secondary, we got Kyle Gordon made a lot of good plays today. I'm hearing Jaquan Brisker making a lot of plays today. And Stevenson got a pick today, another pick today, and showed out in the red zone, I'm hearing today. Man, this team is coming together. It's good to see that everything is just gelling and everyone is coming together, and we're seeing some plays made on both sides of the ball. Don't harp on the interceptions by Justin Fields this early in training camp. You know, this is the time of the year where you test your arm and see what you can do and what you can't do. So I'll give him that. And, you know, towards the end of the year or the end of the preseason, if he's still throwing multiple interceptions, 5, 6 interceptions or something crazy like that, then we'll talk about it. But for now, cut the man some slack and be happy with all the production we've seen from our offense and our defense.
And with that being said, man, hey, good stuff, man. Let me give Aldo a shout out too. I forgot to mention that. Yeah, he is going through a little health scare or crisis, or whichever way you wish to characterize that. Aldo is a good friend to us, man. All of us, we all have been connected to Aldo, and this is how we got here. Just like Trip and Sam said, we got here through him. So, you know, I could say a whole lot, but I'm just gonna send him good vibrations right now because he needs it. You know what I mean? Just get him on the rebound and get him back to where he needs to be. So, like I told Aldo, I'm here for him, and I'm sure the rest of the guys at the network are here for whatever he might need. He needs us to fill in and help out over there. I'm willing to do it. And so, yeah, just peace and love to Aldo, man. Get healthy, dude. But here's the first notes I got, and this is all from Braggs. And I'm going to read this off to you. Justin with back-to-back TDs in the red zone to Tanyan and Mooney. Both names are Tanyan he's been out there the whole camp, man. I mean, every day I hear good stuff about Robert Tanyan and how much trust Justin is getting with him, man. I mean, it's just going up and up every day. In fact, I've heard that he's seeing more red zone targets than even Komet. So that's a good sign right there. It's something to keep an eye on. But also Mooney is looking good the last couple of days. He's ramping up a little bit. And so, and there's another one. This is all from Braggs too. Justin the DJ for on 11s, 5-yard slant. He took it to the house. So what do you guys think about that?
Well, yeah. Not only did practice start with a touchdown from 1-2 connection, but it ended with a touchdown from that 1-2 connection, man. And it's welcome to hear, man. Justin was clicking today, you know. I think the entire offense, and hearing about Darnell Mooney, him being fully healthy, man, and the routes that he's putting on people and hitting it on the dime, man, he's going to look good in that slot this year. So it's welcome to hear, man. Like I said, it's just a lot went well, and that meant that the offensive line had to be protecting. Heard a lot of good things about Darnell Wright. Seen a lot of good things from Darnell Wright from some of the videos that were posted on Twitter. So it's going to be a nice, man.
You know, I guess we're going reverse order this time. I like seeing that the carryover from their training in the off season down in Florida and wherever, you know, has translated to now, you know, padded up practices. And we just want to see him keep advancing from there. And there are still comments that Justin Fields is holding the ball a little too long, just back there patting it. You know, maybe that's just his thing. You know, Brian Urlacher just could not shed a block. You know, not everybody's perfect. You know, if his footwork is there, he's getting the ball there when he does throw it. You know, that's still something that maybe needs to be coached out of him or maturity-wise. But as long as he's, you know, leading the team and making the plays when necessary, the details can and will be worked out.
So my 2 cents has less to do with DJ Moore, and probably a bit more to do with Tyler Scott as well as Chase. I'm watching some of these Chase Claypool highlights, and I love the fact that he's just burning people and bodying people and using the body as a weapon. And I think that's going to go a long way alongside what Justin's working out with DJ Moore. Tyler Scott, I was listening to Flus earlier today, and he says that he's just totally impressed with his professionalism, not just his speed. He's clearly super fast, but his ability to learn on the job and how quickly that's coming along seems to be jumping out to Flus, and that I think that's going to speak a lot to his ability to get on the field in September.
All right. That wasn't the statement. We weren't supposed to go there, Matt, but we'll take that too. No, but back to Justin. And let me tell you something that I noticed today. And I seen 2 particular videos. And speaking about Justin, one thing that I seen him do today that's different than what I'm used to him doing or, accustomed to seeing. And it speaks to the trust that I think he's developing with his O-line and those guys, because they were in a particular set. It was a goal line situation, red zone area. And I think he was back in a shotgun. He took maybe 1 step back, but usually when he feels pressure coming around him, he usually darts out on the inside or turns it into a run of some kind. Instead of doing that, I noticed that he stepped into the pocket, boom, found Chase Claypool over there at the corner pylon.
In the corner.
Yeah, touchdown. So that's different than what you're used to seeing. You guys want to talk about that?
I do. It's going to draw defenders to him and potentially leave a Claypool in the corner wide open, and that's just on that side. Similar things could happen in the middle of the field with Tanyan and Cole Kmet, and then you progress further on to the opposite direction. Less likely for those guys to crash in, but if you've got a Russian Justin Fields in the red zone, you might just crash into.
The power oppose compels you, because now we actually have weapons, legit weapons and targets that, on their own could demand a double team, but you can't double team them all, so somebody's going to be open and multiple people will probably be open. It's just reading the right routes, and Justin has that ability as well. If everybody's covered up, that leaves him uncovered. So, I'm liking where this offense is going.
Yeah, man, like y'all say, it's about the confidence he has now in everything around him. The players that he has around him, this offense has now been weaponized. He has 2 legitimate red zone threats at tight end. He has another one at wide receiver, and Chase Claypool. Those are big bodies down there for any team to have to defend. And teams are also going to have to account for Justin down in the red zone. It's sad to say. They're going to have to allocate a guy to watching what Justin does. If not, if your backs are turned and you're in coverage or you're backing up too far in your zones, Justin can take off and run and get that touchdown himself. So we're going to be tough to deal with in the red zone. It was good to hear that, and just looking forward to hearing more about that.
One last comment I have on it there, Nomad, is just his feet. He took time to get his feet set, and I like it. I'm gonna start paying a little bit more attention to his feet in those situations.
That's kind of where I'm going now, because practice, every time I see Flus go to the podium, and I even saw him. I think if you guys saw the mic'd up, if you guys saw Flus mic'd up, he was over there on the sidelines talking to Justin, just reminding him that, hey, let your feet dictate to you where you need to go. Just trust your feet, and that's your timing. Every time I see him go to the podium, he's mentioning things like that. Also, with a little, Greg Gabriel put a little note out there, and shout out to Greg for this one. He notices that Justin's release is more tight, compact, and quick, and more polished than it's been in the last 2 years he's been here. So that was noteworthy, man. Just to hear stuff like that. I know he's getting rid of the ball quickly, But to hear that, the release is getting tight, more compact, and he's really spraying it around, man. That's a good sign for this offense. And I think you saw maybe a sign of that when you got a 5-yard slant to DJ and he takes it to the house. So what do you guys think, kids?
Like I say, I'm gonna pay more attention to it and watch it a little bit more. Like I say, it wasn't something that I normally look for, but I'm gonna keep watching it because it's important that he keeps the feet set. It's important that he lets those shoes dictate where that ball is going. And to be frank, looking at that play, he probably could have darted off into the end zone on his own if he wanted to. I think he had that kind of room, but that's why I want those feet. I'm gonna keep watching. I think it's kind of important as just to see that he's spending the time making sure that he's set and good to go.
I'm looking forward to Justin getting the ball into Velus, Scott, DJ Moore, Mooney's hands. Any one of the running backs out of the backfield on those little, less than 10-yard routes and passes, and let the athletes do their thing with the ball in their hands. So we don't have to depend on the O-line blocking for 8 seconds or depending on a lot of routes deep. Just hit it, quit it, and let them run, because that's exactly what the hell they do.
Hey, man, that's just a testament to Justin Fields' professionalism, man, and his work ethic, man. He came back, he recognized a deficiency in his game. He knew he needed to shorten up that throw and that arm wind, man, and he went and worked on it. And we talked about this. Players need to work on technique. I'm going to let this helicopter fly by. But yeah, players need to work on technique, man. That's what professionals do. Now that you're in the NFL and you understand, what your deficiencies are, you have to be sound. You have to be tight, man. Every little millisecond and in every inch in wasted motion counts. So Justin worked on that, and it's showing. It's showing up. It's paying dividends right now for him, and I'm happy for him. And hopefully once the season starts, it'll get even tighter and get even better.
Here's something I want you guys to respond to, and this is something we've been talking about all off season. And this is not in particular about red zone, but I seen a report come out that said that Getsy is playing with all of his toys in the red zone, using them in a bunch of different ways. And that's what you want to hear. You talking about, and this particular scenario was not in the red zone. This was kind of further back onto the field on 11-on-11s, during 11-on-11s. And they were in I'll just tell you this, man, in a stack bunch formation. Let's just say it was two stack receivers. It sounded like Velus was low and Tyler Scott was up high, and you had other receivers on the other side plus a tight end. That's a MFing problem. That's a MFing problem. When you walk up to the line and you see that as a DB, you're taking a big gulp, because with this receiver combo, when you see all of the explosion that's there, the different variations in body types that we have, man, I'm telling you, man, I don't know a DB group in the league that can match these guys blow for blow. I just don't know a DB group. I know there's a couple of teams that have really good DB groups, but this is going to be an extraordinarily explosive set of receivers, man. I'm telling you guys, man, I wouldn't envy a defensive play caller with these groups of guys out there.
Well, that's something I'll kick it off. That's something that Poe said early. He said, wide receivers come in all different shapes and sizes. And it seems as though that's what we have. We got our little variety pack, except they're all very athletic, very smart, and, willing to do what's necessary to improve themselves and the team. And so the deep routes, the short routes, the whatever route you need, they're all working on their craft with the jugs machines, learning their routes and the intricacies of this Getsy offense. So, the 20, 28, 30 points a game, is not out of the question. And then with I know we're not talking about defense, but with the hits and the turnover capabilities of the defense, the offense, will have hopefully a lot of shorter fields than, starting at their own 20-25.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know where to go here because I'm really liking what Chase Claypool put on today. I'm watching all these clips. He burns Tyreek Stevenson like you wouldn't believe. Breaks his ankle, sends him sliding on the field. This is the stuff that's going to get me excited. I really expect big things from Chase. I know the world might be down on him for all kinds of different reasons, but it's really cool to see Getsy just going into the bag of tricks and testing all these guys out, especially in that red zone. It's going to give Justin so many options to deal with. And I'll bring it back to something, a little message that I gave good old Don Burr a couple of days ago when I was last on, and it was who do you double team? Don was talking a whole bunch of trash, and he immediately skipped my comment and went on to talking trash to somebody else, because I don't know who you double team anymore, right? Like I don't know who you double team. How are you going to double team Chase Claypool and leave DJ Moore wide open? And you might want to double team Chase Claypool because he's massive and he can run like stink. And now you got Darnell Mooney to worry about. You might have Tyler Scott to worry about. Maybe it's Velus Jones. Like, I think we've got some dangerous things going on, and I haven't even talked about the tight ends again. I haven't talked about the potential in that backfield, but I'm liking what I see from Claypool, especially in a short practice. He's looking real nice today.
Hey, Samo, before you chime in, man, I want to show him something right quick. Go ahead, put the Tyler Scott video up, please, Chris, if you would. This is what happens when this.
Oh, he's open.
About 50 yards in the air. That's about 50 yards in the air, Tyler Scott. I don't know what just happened with that video, but oh my God. And that could have been because the camera was far enough away. We can't tell what kind of formation they might have been. That could have been the stack high-low that we were talking about with Velus. I mean, Velus going underneath, and that guy have to carry the safety, have to carry him over the top. Man, it's a deadly situation we got going on here, man. And this is just the beginning of it.
And just to follow up on you and me here, Nomad, in the chat, I'd like, please let me know who's got a secondary that can stack up like that. We're just talking about a high-low concept right now with Velus Jones and Tyler Scott. That's a lot of speed to deal with. Velus has got some good size too. We're not talking about the other side of the field right now. Who knows what's going on the other side of the field? How do you manage this as a defense? I don't know. I'm remiss to the Legion of Boom is long done. I don't know who's going to stack up.
And the beautiful thing about
hold on, Trip. Go ahead, Sam.
No, I was just saying Matt was making my point, man, that I was going to make. First of all, let's say the power of polls compels you. Because we took a position of weakness. Everyone can agree that we had wide receiver was a position of weakness, dire weakness last year. This season, it's a position of strength, pure strength and speed. And like he said, wide receivers that come in many shapes and sizes and can do different things, man. But the one common denominator is that speed. That speed is going to be hard for teams to deal with. We absolutely have the fastest wide receiving room in the NFL, without a doubt. I can stand on that. And teams aren't built to cover multiple receivers that can run 4-3, 4-4. That's almost impossible because we can stretch you vertically and horizontally at the same time. And then we have these guys underneath, these big monuments in Cole Kmet and Robert Tonyan that can come underneath you. And we have running backs that also have speed that can catch the ball out of the backfield. So once everything comes together, man, we're going to be a hard offense to stop. We're going to put up numbers this year, without a doubt. Like Nomad said earlier this year, I see us putting up 21 points a half and allowing teams to try to fight their way back into the game.
There's a comment here on the YouTube chat. the Nomad Network, Nomad Live, from Mark that says maybe Philly's secondary can stand up to this offense. But other than that, there are not many, if they can even. And the beautiful thing about that clip was there was no patting the ball, there was no holding the ball. It came out on time. The offensive line did their thing, the route was run, the timing was there. And so more of that, please, sir.
And to boot on that, man, he threw that ball from all accounts. Said he threw it directly into a nice breeze, and so he still had enough on that ball to where he met Tyler Scott on time. Tyler Scott had to slow down just a little bit to make sure he got that ball, but that is a dilemma that is an envy of no defensive coordinator in the league. You talking about DJ Moore under 4.4 speed. Talking about Mooney under 4.4 speed. Velus Jones under 4.4. I mean, just the route combos. And then you have a avatar like Chase Claypool, who I saw today in multiple films. I mean, I think Keds mentioned it earlier. He's looking good. The thing about what I'm hearing about Claypool is booted with the fact that now all of a sudden the intensity and the connection of Chase Claypool and Justin Fields is starting to tick up. They're starting to feel each other, and you're starting to see it on the field. Like there's a video. I don't think we got it, but I would have loved to get it. There's a one-on-one rep when he absolutely destroyed Jalen Johnson. I mean, I'm talking about not like down the field. They were he did moss him. I seen that one too.
In the red zone.
Yeah. But he got off the line on him, and you could see the thud that he put on Jalen Johnson. I mean, big physical dude. He popped Jalen Johnson before totally obliterated whatever he was thinking at the time and just ran right by him for a touchdown. I mean, you should see that. He put hands on Jalen Johnson and shook his whole body. But
Jalen was thinking it was a penalty or something. He stopped. He stopped and stood there and stared at the referee for a minute, and the referee just, touchdown.
It's not a penalty because it's within 5 yards. Within 5 yards, you can maul an MFer all day long. If you get popped and you're not strong enough to hold up to a receiver's physicality, he can do what he wants you to do within 5 yards, whatever he needs to do to you. But yeah, he just out physical the dude. And so that's the kind of dynamic I talk about with the different sets of receivers and their skill sets. Man, you have speed, quicks, and size, tight ends, running backs of different kinds. Man, dude, this offense is loaded. And if I'm Getsy, I'm sitting here with all face cards. I'm like, which one you want me to play? Which one you want to shade one of these guys over the top? Go ahead. We got enough guys up underneath that can wear you out. You're gonna leave something open. And we got the weapons to hurt you with. Go ahead, kids.
Oh, you ran it down the line, man. It was a beautiful clip. Like I say, I'm pulling for the young Canadian man to do the darn thing this year. I think it'll be I think he, somebody's mentioned that he's the Bears version of Megatron. I may or may not go that far. What I will say is he's easily a third possession tight end almost, right? Like that's almost the way you have to sort of look at him with speed. Wow, like that is. I'm hoping he becomes some level of a security blanket for Justin as we go. But great day of practice so far.
Tony Bass said, "Field stinks. It is what it is." Okay,
Field stinks.
Tony Baroni, wherever you just came from.
Real quick. Shout out to Tony Bass. Hey, real quick.
I wonder if Tony's free, Bass.
Luke Getsy came from Green Bay, right?
Right.
Luke
he did
Getsy
indeed.
comes from Green Bay. He was wide receiver coach before he was before he became offensive coordinator, quarterback coach, and offensive coordinator. He, under his tutelage, he developed a Devontae Adams. He worked with a Jordy Nelson. So I expect that type of ascension from Chase Claypool, man. Now that he's here, he's working with in this offense, in the same offense, and working with Luke Getsy, man. Luke Getsy knows what it takes to get that out of those players, man. Those guys didn't come into the league and immediately have success. It happened year over year, but once it started clicking for those guys, they really became the top receivers in the league. But if you look at their first 2 years in the league, they didn't do much. So Luke Getsy knows what to do with those big guys, man. And Luke Getsy, man, guys, get ready to lose Luke. Get ready to lose Luke. Because if Justin has the year that we think he's going to have, Luke Getsy's going to get a job, man. He's going to be a head coach next year. So, it'll be good for us. That means we had a lot of success. And I fully expect that, Flukes has a contingency plan already, because he knows that Luke Getsy is one of those guys after coaching the Senior Bowl whose time is coming.
Well, if you look at the way that this staff was hired, Luke Getsy, he's a very good coach. He's very well spoken. He answers a question without giving too much away. And as Leo in the chat says, he wants to see that same play calling that the Packers ran the last 3 seasons, because it was very effective. Run, play action, run, deep ball. It was very holistic in the approach of it. And so looking at the possibility of Luke Getsy getting the head coach job, looking at the possibility of Ian Cunningham leaving, we've stacked, or Poles has stacked this staff with a lot of up and coming talented coaches and front office people. And I'm sure there's a whole, stable behind them ready to come up. And so, looking at the talent that we have on the field now compared to last year, our cap situation, the way the negotiations have gone, you already know what it is. Tell them what it is.
Samuel, you had to go down that road, right? Like that's the conversation I don't want to have right now. I just want to enjoy what we got this season, and we'll deal with that at the end of the year, because I want this team to blow up offensively and put the league on notice. The last thing I want is for the guy who set all that up to be like, peace out, see you later. I want to see him maybe even stick around one more season. Just give us next season too, Luke. If you're hearing me out there, if you're watching, Luke, one more season, brother. I want to see you do your job, and I want to see you excel at doing your job next year and take a deep playoff run. After that, hey, I guess we can't hold on to you after that. We'll have to figure something out.
That's the beauty in having a West Coast offense, though, man, is that it has there are a lot of teams that are running that system, and a lot of guys in this came out of this coaching tree. So I think that, there's a guy that'll be able to come in and replace him that understands the principles of the West Coast offense, or maybe someone in-house. So I'm not as concerned. I'm usually concerned when there's a guy who has his own offense, that no one really runs. This is a West Coast offense that's pretty popular, and people at different teams. You have the Niners that run it. You have who else? L.A.
Rams.
The Rams, yeah. We have Cincinnati has a version of this.
Pretty sure Miami's doing it now too.
Miami,
with Mike.
Yeah, exactly. Miami.
There's so many different guys.
There is a guy, and I'm sure we'll identify that guy because the power of Poles compels you.
Hey, listen, I can talk about offense all day, and it's a lot to talk about, man. We can keep going on for the rest of the show because it's worth it. The offense does sound good right now. It's looking good. Guess he's got a lot to work with. I don't know about him getting a job right after one successful season, but I've seen things happen, you know what I mean? But he's got to get out there and let's put some wins up on the board first. But we have a guy in the chat by the name of Jesse James who says Alvin Williams is on the hot seat. Jesse, let me tell you, first of all, it's Alvin Williams on the hot seat. I don't know if I'm ready to make that proclamation, man. He had nothing to work with, so I don't know how he could be on the hot seat this year. He had nothing to work with last year for the most part. Bunch of the youngest secondary in the league, so I don't know if we shouldn't be calling for him to be on the hot seat after a year with the subpar defense, man. I think we ought to back off and get that man time to develop the new tools that he has, man, and just, back up off the pressure on the guy. Let the guy work. Let's see what he's got.
So I agree with you, Nomad, but at the same time, I'm going to give Jesse James just a little bit of validity here. Of course you would. I might, but there's a reason though, and it's got very little to do with me. It has to do with what Dominique Robinson said the other day, right? What sort of came out the other day was that
Dom Rob made an admission to not using power at practice specifically. He said he didn't use it in any games, but he also, more importantly, didn't use power while practicing, and that Braxton Jones suffered from his lack of power use. That would have helped train up Braxton Jones to handle power rush, bull rush case scenario if he was seeing it and dealing with it that much more in practice. My problem with that is pretty simple, and it's just that one would think that the DC and the defensive coaching staff would have picked up on that at some point during the season and maybe turned that situation around and had him utilize more power just to give if only just to give Braxton a bit more experience dealing with it. It could also be a situation where he's actually improving his power game, his bull rush, and utilizing that to again add pressure to the QB. So I'm not going to blame everything on Alan Williams. I'm of the mind to give him the benefit of the doubt in the full year to really help turn this defense into something that he can utilize. Something that's a little bit more powerful, especially given how much talent was taken out of that group last year. So I'm not gonna hang him out to dry for that. But again, it's just one of those things that came out this week that I did want to bring up, and it gives me a little bit of pause on what the defensive coaching staff may be all about.
We're really quickly, man. I want to say this to everybody watching the show, everybody in this chat right now, and all you guys too, co-hosts here. There's something to be said for Alan Williams when you can physically dominate a New England, well-coached New England Patriots team, physically dominate them on the defensive side of the ball, physically dominate them with a subpar roster. That's something to be said, man. I don't think you sneeze at that. That they physically dominated the New England Patriots, man. One of the most well-coached teams in the league, man. They physically dominated them with a C-level roster. So I'm not really feeling the whole Alan Williams on the hot seat thing, but I respect people's way of thinking, but I definitely don't see it that way. Trip, we can't hear you, man. You're muted.
Check 1, 2.
Go ahead.
I don't think he should be on the hot seat just yet. I mean, last season, defensively, the team was competitive. They were making adjustments after halftime, and we were pretty much in every game. There were no blowouts. And so he had everyone engaged and learning. Now, Dominique Robinson, maybe he learned it late in the season, like you said, but some people would say, well, Robinson should have, not Robinson, but Alan Williams should have, been coaching him up that entire time. Well, maybe it just took that long for that to sink into the guy because everybody learns differently. And so we can really start to see if they were brought in to be teachers and developers of young talent. We can't really judge that until we see, last year's rookies develop and this year's rookies develop. So Williams gets at least another season or two before the results should really be expected from the young core.
Just really quick, guys. Let me throw Chris, if you play that rep by Tyreek.
Hold on, Nomad. Look, real quick. I just got to speak to this real quick, man.
All right, go ahead.
Speed to power. Speed to power. All right. He didn't use speed to power. That's not an indictment on the defensive coordinator. It's more of an indictment on him and his maybe his D-line coach, because I'm sure they work on it every day. When you go to practice, you work on all of the different moves and individual. So him not using it in games is maybe because he just wasn't good at it, so he didn't feel comfortable using it in games. Yes, the defensive line coach should have recognized that and then pointed that out to him like, hey, you're going to have to try it in the games and you have to try it at practice a little bit more so we can help this guy and it'll help you as well. And as far as Alvin Williams being on the hot seat, I am no way on board with that because last year this dude was stripped of his number one pass rusher and his middle linebacker, both guys who were Pro Bowlers for us the year before. Alan Williams, in we had 7 one-score games, right? 5 of those games we needed to stop to get the ball back to the offense. I mean, well, in 5 of those games, and we got that stop. He got us that stop. The ball was either kicked to us and muffed, or the offense sputtered in the other 3 of those games. So Allen Williams knows what he's doing. He just needs the talent on the defense. We had a talentless defense last year, guys. However, the secondary played really well. So that should tell you something right there, too. But the linebackers did not play well, and our defensive line didn't play well. And that's why we went and stacked those 2 positions and then reinforced what already was good in the secondary. And I expect a lot more from Allen Williams this year, yes. But I'm not ready to say that he deserves to be on the hot seat.
Absolutely not, man. Listen, not you guys kind of gave a prelude into our last segment, and it's going to be about the defensive front. There's equally as good news from the defensive front, from what I heard all day, than it was coming from the offense. But before we get into that, we're talking about coaching and development. I'm going to show you a thing or two here on this rep from I think it's Terrell Smith versus Tyler Scott. If you want to play that video, Chris. If you look closely, when he goes back to the line, when he's at the line of scrimmage, if you look closely, right before the snap, you'll see Terrell Smith kind of shade him to the inside right before the snap. You see that? Ooh. One more time. This is development right here. One more time, I'll tell you. This is when coaching comes in. He can be face to face on that guy. He can be face to face on that guy like he is right now and stay that way. But you also have to understand that you need to make sure this receiver knows that you can't come across my face without a certain level of physicality. And he took that away from him and got hands on him, got hands on that shoulder, and kind of led him to the outside. This is great coverage. This is great coverage. That's development. That's development. These coaches are coaching in that training camp. Trust me. He didn't come into this camp with that kind of technique. That was a technique you learn. You don't just walk into an NFL training camp and just know that. Most players don't. You learn that. And so when you talk about development, man, I'm seeing this rep and I can just watch this all day. There's a few things he did so well. Boom, take that inside away. Boom, get your head around, get your hands up. One more time. Take the inside away, slide in, boom. Yep. Head around, hands up. That's perfect. That's absolutely perfect coverage right there, man. So, I mean, the young guys that we have in the development that I know these coaches are capable of doing, I mean, that's why if you don't load a team up full of young people on a roster if you don't feel like you have the coaching staff that's capable of coaching these guys up and getting them where you need them to be. And so I think with all that youth and that juice with those guys, man, I think these guys are going to be flying around the field hurting people.
So on that, just to back up a bit, I don't think by any stretch of the imagination Allen Williams should be on the hot seat. All I'm saying really is just that, if it wasn't happening in games, that's one thing. Maybe the kid didn't feel it. He wasn't confident in it. But that's no reason not to practice it in practice. Yeah. They should, you know what I mean? And that's where the development piece for me is something that I'm going to continue to watch throughout the season. I think they should have caught that in practice and said, hey, you need to practice this. If not for your development, although it obviously is, but also for the development, iron sharpens iron of the other guy on the other side of you. It's going to help him be better at his position too.
Hey, Kev, let me. Can I add to that conversation? I'll just give you some context to that. In every position coach's handbag is ability to try to develop a guy specifically in an area. You're talking about the bull rush. It could be that they were in practice and as a new defensive end, is new to the position, he could probably tell that Dominic Robinson wasn't very comfortable trying that move. Maybe he was more comfortable with his own athleticism, which is what he actually explained when he was talking about that. He's more comfortable being an athlete, and he felt like he could use his speed and his quicks to get to the quarterback as opposed to power. He found out quickly that that necessarily is not going to be the case. And so I think to his to my liking, the fact that he was reflective of that and was saying, you know what, should have used more of that power. I should have just worked on it more. But as a coordinator, I mean, as a position coach, you want to try to keep a player in his comfort zone. You want you don't want to keep having him do things that he's uncomfortable with, because if he's uncomfortable with it in practice, he's going to be uncomfortable with it in games. So I can understand the mindset of not trying to force that on him.
Okay, that's a very sound answer, with respect to it all. I can say, Eberflus himself has been on the podium multiple times, really just saying that they are a group of teachers and developers, and that's really what drew him into this particular role with this particular team, was that the promise of building through the draft and developing guys like a Dominique Robinson, or again, you name any of the rookies. So I've got faith in them. Allen's definitely got, he's got the benefit of the doubt and a fair amount of time to start to build this up. It's funny, we always talk about Robert Quinn going and Roquan Smith going, but Khalil Mack also went last year too. It was a complete rebuild case scenario. He lost out on some key. Akeem Hicks. Like the list is actually maybe a little bit longer than folks really want to talk about. You also can throw Eddie Goldman in there too, right? That whole thing got revamped. So there's a long way for them to go. A lot of work had to be done, and we'll continue to see what the fruits of that labor look like this year.
Fellas, all morning long I kept hearing nothing but Dominique Robinson's getting good pressure. Travis Gibson's getting good pressure. Consistently. Jervon Dexter getting good pressure. Consistently. Even DeMarcus Walker. But he, just to be fair, he had to go off the field today. He probably got dinged up, concussion or something like that. Hopefully it's nothing too much, but all day long. Even I heard some Zach Pickens in there. So it's some Terrell Lewis is getting reps with the ones. And so the defensive end sounded like they were getting pressure all day in practice today. So, with all that talk about we don't have DN, man, I think, since the pads are coming on, we're going to see if they can keep holding that up.
Yeah, Andrew Billings too, man. I heard his name thrown out there early in practice and stuff in the run.
Just to add to that, guys, I don't know if you were aware, Bears claimed Bravion Roy, the one tech from Baylor, from the Panthers today.
What's his name again?
Bravion Roy. He was a highly touted one technique out of Baylor.
Hey, Chris.
Yes, sir.
If you could you find a video and share it?
I'll definitely try.
All right. I don't know if I know. I don't know that guy, Bravion Roy. Anybody heard of that guy?
Not familiar.
Not familiar, but Roy, a former 6th-round pick out of Baylor, has played 45 games, including 15 starts in 3 seasons with the Panthers. With Carolina transitioning to a 3-4 defense this offseason, there wasn't a need for him. Last season, Roy totaled 17 tackles, 4 pressures, and 5 stops in 13 games, including 4 starts. He earned a PFF run defense grade of 48.6 and a pass rush grade of 60.9 in 2022.
All right. So he's looking for a video on him. He's 6'1", 300. That's 330 pounds. This is a big dude right here. I mean, a real big dude. And so somehow either somebody's either dinged up or they felt like they need some more depth at the one spot. Either way, this is going to be a good camp body. This might be a guy that can push somebody that's behind somebody and actually make the team. Because I like to see a minimum of 3 really big guys in the middle. So we have one in Andrew Billings. We have another one in what's our guy's name from Michigan? We were just talking about him yesterday.
Donovan Jeter.
You just brought another guy in there of the same ilk. So that sounds good. I love hearing about that. I don't know who they cut, but I like hearing there's another big body coming into camp.
Listen, you can never have too many good defensive linemen, man. And keep in mind also the new practice squad rules allow veteran players to be stashed there too. So I think the Bears definitely consider that when they bring players into camp. Maybe he doesn't make the team, but he sits on our practice squad, and you can move any of those guys up into the active 53 during the week and drop them back down, during injury periods. And if anyone's dinged up. So it's good to get that guy some work in our defense, get to know him, and see if he fits what we want to do. Obviously, they saw something good in him that they like, and shit, we're gonna see what he does.
Hey, Chris, I wanted to know if he was released in the camp or Chris
Lamar Jackson advantage.
He was released by the Panthers. Not a scheme fit for them.
just recently, huh?
Just to yeah.
And they
just
all over.
Bears picked him up at 4:30.
They jumped all over that one. That's called being first in the waiver wire claim. So that's
he was a good player at Baylor.
I can believe it.
It's a one technique right there. 60.
Oh, that's a big boy.
Yeah, he's huge.
He got the interception. Was that an interception he got?
Yes.
Got a pick.
Big boy.
That's a big dude right there.
Big boy got some hands on him. Yeah, he can move too.
Woo, that boy big.
Boy, big guy.
Yeah, he's a big dude.
Wow. This is what we was missing last year. We didn't have enough of these guys.
Yep.
But again, I don't care what nobody says.
Wow.
I mean, he's athletic
that was
too.
Athletic play, man. That was an athletic at his play for a big guy.
Right.
Right?
That big old boy is quick and he can leap, man.
He was a good player at Baylor.
Hey, you know what? I know it was a tank season last year, and you know me, I'm an evaluator. I sit there and I pick apart everything I saw, especially on defense, man. And it was like they intentionally got rid of the really big bodies to do what they had to do to get us this number one pick. They took away the heat from the front, but the really big dudes, they let them go. They let them go. Our last big dude that we had, we let him go to Minnesota. I forget that kid's name all the time.
Tonga?
Yeah. Harris
Yeah.
Tonga. We let him go. I was like, what are we doing here? But in hindsight, it's 2020. Looking at it from now, looking at it now, it's like they did exactly what they're supposed to do. Strip it down, get to where you need to get to in the draft, and they did just that. But they're replenishing so damn well, man. They need those big bodies like that, for sure.
It's funny you say that one. Like that was probably the one player that they let go of that I was really like, why? Why did you let go of Tonga? Because everybody else makes sense. Everybody else was really a dollars and cents situation. Goldman, yeah, we didn't want to pay you. Daniels, yeah, we didn't want to pay you. Khalil Mack, we're paying you everything we have. I'm sorry. Robert Quinn, Roquan Smith, it's all money. Tonga was on a rookie deal. That was it. I thought he was a guy that we might have been able to keep for another couple years. But again, if it got us to where we are today, I'm for it. Let's go.
They really stripped us down, man. They did what they had to do. Anybody got anything to say about that?
The power of polls compels you.
Hey, look, man.
I like what Dion said, man. Our run defense is going to be one of the best in the league. It seems like they're putting an emphasis on stopping the run, making sure that we can stop the run to earn that right to rush the passer. And it's welcome. You can't play defense if you can't stop the run, which is another reason we shouldn't get rid of Alvin Williams. You know, we couldn't stop the run at all last year. But this year, you know, we get some guys, some bodies in the middle, and we get some linebackers who know how to run down and hit and see where it goes.
Hey, Samo, somebody asked me earlier in the chat, is like with all this explosiveness from the receiving core, do you think we'll still run the ball at least 40%? And I don't know exactly who said that to me. You best damn believe they're gonna run that ball. I'll give you a quote from Flus today. This is him at the podium. Let me get to the quote. I think he said Chicago style is running the ball and stopping the run on defense and winning games. That's Chicago style. Play strong defense, stop the run, be tough in the passing game, and run the damn ball. Yes, we have explosive weapons, but all that's going to do is open up lanes underneath for him to hand the ball off.
You know, I wouldn't quite say that. Shout out Lovey always that we get off the bus running the ball, but it's going to be heavily run offense, you know, much like we saw Green Bay run, you know, pounding the ball, all damn play action, you know, so we have the weapons, but don't expect just to come out and go 5 wide and just start, you know, picking apart. It's not that kind of party.
Well, you know what? It's
No,
gonna be
they
times when
won't run the ball.
Go ahead, Sam.
I'm just gonna say it's gonna be easier to run the ball too, because that's what that speed on the outside does. It makes those DBs back up. So now you can't put 6, 7, and 8, 9 guys in the box. Last year we faced 8 and 9 guys in the box, and we still ran on people. So this year, you try that. This year we throwing right behind that, because we got the speed to go right past those guys who are trying to step up to play the run. So defenses are going to have to respect that speed, and they're going to have to stay their asses back. And once they stay back, we're going to turn around and hand that ball off on those small 6, 7-man fronts. And, we're going to bust some big gas runs this year because we have speed at running back too this year.
And so
that outside zone run's going to look good with Khalil Herbert, just for exactly the reasons that you're saying. If those DBs are going back and he's coming around, there's going to be room to move, going to be room to get that yardage around those corners. So it'll be interesting. The one thing I will say is, the way things are looking, we may wind up seeing a little bit less footwork on the run from Justin. I don't know how we can really quantify that at this point in time, right? Like after watching him do what he did last year, and there's 1,000-yard season expectations for his feet. With all those weapons, man, he just doesn't have to. I'm hoping he doesn't, and I don't think he will. I don't think he's going to have to do that quite as much this year.
He definitely shouldn't have to.
Right. I just want to. My final comment for the day before we get out of here. Thank everybody for rocking with us for this. What day of camp is this? Day 6, first day of pads. Make sure you are liking, subscribing, and sharing the Nomad Network, Nomad Live, Nomad at Night, and MFR in the Kitchen. Stay on top of us as we continue with our daily training camp updates. And then once the season kicks off, that's when the party really gets started.
Kid, you got anything? Because let me get to one last thing, man, because I can't wait to get off of here right now because I can't wait to go study this new guy we got. I love doing that kind of stuff, man. But before you guys go ahead, kids. You got anything to close up with?
In closing, everybody else got to say a little shout out to the Podfather. I'm going to give a little shout out, a little bit of love. Stay up, Podfather. Get healthy. We'd love to have you on the show at some point just to chop it up, or we'll come over there, I'm sure, just to chop it up. Either way, get well soon, brother. We appreciate you.
Amen.
Absolutely. We miss you. Absolutely. We miss you, Aldo. Get well soon. Happy when you get back, man. Get healthy. Just shout out to everybody in the chat for rocking with us, man, these past 6 days. And keep it up, man. It's a lot of content. A lot of good news coming out of Bears camp, and we're going to keep putting it out.
And a shout out to Samo for joining us from the runway as he's out there walking it and strutting his stuff.
All right, man. Hey, fellas, man, good job today, man. And let me give him one more little shout out to Aldo. Hurry up and get your stinking behind out of that hospital and get healthy, man. Get back to that cave, man, and give us some shows. Again, Aldo, if you need anything, man, my number. Just call me, and I'm there. So, with that being said, man, hey, I can't wait to go study this new guy we just have. I love big dudes. I love big dudes on defense in particular. So I can't wait to get out of here and go study this dude. But appreciate you guys showing up in the chat. Everybody that's going to watch the show later on. We got Plank that's going to watch it later on. I think a couple other guys, I think, said something earlier about they're watching on the rebound because they're watching CHGO. I don't care who you go watch. Just make sure you watch us when it's time. Make sure you get to this show because it's just going to get better and better and better. So, hey, with that being said, we will see you guys tomorrow at about the same time. I don't think we need to adjust anything. And so we'll see you tomorrow and then Thursday for the nighttime Nomad Live at 8 p.m. Central. So with that being said, I want to say one more time, love, peace, and hair grease, y'all. We out.
Hey, down, fam.